Coaches sometimes worry so much about their teams that they lose their composure and overreact emotionally to certain things. In this state, they are particularly vulnerable and too easily provoked, and today, I will tell you about the most famous conflicts that have taken place between coaches on the footballer's sidelines. Jose Mourinho has picked on Arsene Wenger on more than one occasion during his coaching career. In 2014, the Portuguese once called his colleague a failure specialist, as the Frenchman had not won a trophy for nearly 9 years in the London derby between Chelsea and Arsenal at the start of season 14-15. Wenger's anger boiled over after one controversial episode. Arsene lashed out at him, almost pushing him out of the technical area as he aggressively urged the Frenchman to calm down, but the Arsenal coach would not even think of doing so and had to make a fourth referee, after which the fury finally subsided. 4 years later, when Mourinho was in charge of Manchester United at Stamford Bridge, the Portuguese literally went berserk at the end of the game at the hands of a member of the Chelsea coaching staff when the hosts equalized just before the end. The Blues physiotherapist defiantly celebrated right under Mourinho's nose and simply incensed the Portuguese himself. It is hard to imagine had it not been for Stewart to intervene. The hero of the next episode again was Arsene Wenger. This time it was in another London derby against West Ham. The Frenchman distinguished himself when Alan Pardew, the Hammers coach, reacted aggressively after the controversial episode by pushing the opponent. The situation could have been allowed to get out of hand, although Wenger looked like a lion in a cage. Later in the game came to shake hands with his assistant Arsene, but neither specialist extended a hand in return. The Manchester derby in 2012 was a very heated one, especially given the clash between Roberto Mancini and Sir Alex Ferguson. Both coaches had something on their minds. The two coaches had a falling out, almost clashing. Fortunately, a reserve referee prevented any serious repercussions. Diego Simeone, the coach of Atletico de Madrid, has always shown a stormy temper, but in the return leg of the 2016 UEFA Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich, the Argentine nearly overdid it when the game ended, with El Chela taking the ball in his hands. At the end of the meeting, El Chela took the ball in his hands but did not give it to the captain of the Munich. Philipp Lamu, then coach, began to push the referee for not letting him make a substitution. Situation interfered. Frank Ribery, who had his hands, held Simeone and did not let him do anything stupid, and Pep Guardiola in turn tried to calm Diego. Words. In season 2019-20, Liverpool welcomed Chelsea to their home ground after a foul on Mateo Kovacic and on Sadio Mane. The Blues coach Frank Lampard started to argue to the touchline referee that there had been no foul on the match. Jurgen Klopp's assistant, but then Lampard asked the Englishman to Lampard then demanded respect and asked Jurgen to be in March 2020,
winning the championship alone does not make him cool. In a Moscow derby as part of the Russian Cup and no problem. This fact so upset Armenian coach Viktor Gonciarenko that after the game the white man immediately went under the stands, and room must not read. Dominic the Disco ran after his colleague to shake his hand, but Gonciarenko immediately indicated that he was not going to do that, and the German tried to turn the coach towards him. But when he resisted, Dominic shoved him and ran off to celebrate his team's victory. In 2016, Antonio Conte took charge of Chelsea in place of Mourinho, who had been sacked from the club 6 months before the Italian appointment. The Portuguese himself did not sit idly by and coached his former team's rivals Manchester United on his return to Stamford Bridge in a crushing defeat. After the game, Jose approached Conte. The two coaches began a long dispute in the next English Cup match between the teams. On the pitch it was very hot. After one controversial episode, Conte angrily approached the fourth official, making claims, and clashed with Mourinho, who had aggressively. The conflict was not continued on the pitch, but at press conferences both coaches often exchanged caresses, with Conte calling Mourinho the English man and Alan Pardew, that the already at the helm behaving like a clown on the was not at his best in the match against Aston Villa. When the Magpies scored, their coach began to celebrate the goal and gloated over Martin, who was then in charge of the opponents. Alan went straight at the Irishman and tried to annoy him with his aggressive antics, but the situation did not end badly. In 2007, the head coach had a disagreement with his Parma colleague Dominic Di Carlo during the Italian Series match, and the two coaches were arguing intensely, but at one point the conflict escalated into something bigger. Baldini went completely mad and kicked Di Carlo from behind in a burst of aggression, but the experts were quickly separated. After the match, Baldini apologized to Parma coach, after which the conflict was over.
In the last European League competition, Spartak Moscow sensationally defeated one of Italy's league leaders twice in the group stage on the pitch. After Game 2, Neapolitan head coach Luciano Spaletti pointedly refused to shake hands with his colleague Rui Vitoria, to which the Portuguese specialist reacted with a very eloquent look at the press. Spalletti denied shaking hands because Vitoria failed to greet him before the game, but the Portuguese failed to confirm the Italian's claims, accusing him of lying. The latest and most discussed example is the scuffle between Chelsea coach Thomas Tuchel and mentor Antonio Conte that started in the 68th minute when midfielder Heiberg tied the score with a long-range shot. The German reacted with a storm of anger, and the result was a brawl which the coaching staffs of both teams had to settle. When Chelsea went forward again later on, Thomas took revenge on his attacker and raced in front of him, celebrating joyfully for his team's goal. In the end of the match, Thomas equalized the score again, but this time Conte did not go for provocation. Nevertheless, Chelsea coach lacked another dose of adrenaline, and German decided to go further after the match. During a handshake, German held Conte's hand, so the conflict took on new colors for aggressive behavior. Both coaches were red-carded and then went under the stands, which is why moments like these add to the emotion of the match, that the incident should not be given much importance because it was only emotions.